The second Jackson slammed his car door shut, he realized his toolbox was still at Mrs. Henderson's house. "Damn it," he muttered, checking his watch. 10 minutes until Lily's parent-teacher conference started. After running around town fixing plumbing problems since dawn, the last thing he needed was to be late. His 9-year-old daughter's teacher already had concerns about her lack of focus. Missing this meeting wouldn't exactly help his case. Hudson Evans adjusted his worn jacket and rushed toward Preston Elementary's entrance. The single father had been struggling to keep everything together since his wife passed 3 years ago. Between juggling multiple handyman jobs to pay the bills and trying to be both mom and dad to Lily, something always seemed to slip through the cracks. The school hallways were quiet except for the occasional parent exiting a classroom with either relief or concern written on their face. Hudson found room 14 and knocked softly. "Come in," called a voice he didn't recognize. He stepped inside, surprised to find not Mrs. Peterson, Lily's usual teacher, but a woman he'd never seen before. She was seated at the desk, reviewing what looked like Lily's portfolio. Her chestnut hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and she wore a simple navy blue dress that somehow managed to look both professional and elegant. "Mr. Evans?" she asked, looking up with warm hazel eyes. "I'm Eliza Anderson. I'm covering for Mrs. Peterson today." Hudson nodded, extending his hand. "Nice to meet you. Is Mrs. Peterson okay?" "Family emergency," Eliza explained, shaking his hand firmly. "Nothing serious, but she had to leave suddenly. I've been reviewing Lily's file to make sure I'm up to speed." Hudson settled uncomfortably into the child-sized chair across from her. He noticed that unlike most substitutes, Eliza seemed thoroughly familiar with his daughter's work, gesturing to specific assignments as she spoke. "Lily's quite creative," Eliza began, holding up a colorful story Lily had written. "Her imagination is remarkable, but Mrs. Peterson noted that she's been having trouble completing assignments lately." Hudson sighed, running a hand through his dark hair. "Yeah, things have been challenging at home. I'm doing my best, but Mr. Evans, I'm not here to judge your parenting," Eliza interrupted gently. "I'm just trying to understand how we can help Lily succeed." Something about her tone made Hudson relax slightly. This wasn't the condescending pity he sometimes received as a struggling single dad. There was genuine interest in her eyes. "Lily's mom died 3 years ago," he explained. "Cancer. It's been just the two of us since then. I work multiple jobs to keep us afloat, which means she's sometimes alone more than I'd like. She's mature for her age, but she's still 9, Eliza finished for him. "Exactly." Eliza nodded thoughtfully. "I noticed Lily's science project was particularly impressive. The one about renewable energy." Hudson couldn't help but smile proudly. "She's obsessed with that stuff, always asking how things work, how we could make them better. Gets frustrated when I can't explain the complicated parts." "That's actually why I wanted to talk to you," Eliza said, leaning forward slightly. "Lily's showing exceptional aptitude in STEM subjects. Have you considered enrolling her in the district's advanced program?" Hudson's smile faded. "Those programs cost money, Miss Anderson, money we don't have." "Actually," Eliza replied, pulling a brochure from a folder, "there's a scholarship opportunity. The Phoenix Foundation sponsors children with exceptional abilities but limited resources. I think Lily would be a perfect candidate." Hudson took the brochure skeptically. "What's the catch?" "No catch. Just an application and an interview with the child and parent." She hesitated. "I know it might seem too good to be true, but I've seen these scholarships change lives." Hudson studied the woman across from him. There was something uniquely sincere about her that made him want to trust her, despite years of learning that nothing came easy or free. "I'll think about it," he finally said. "That's all I ask." Eliza smiled, then glanced at her watch. "I'm sorry, but I need to prepare for the next conference." "Is there anything else you'd like to discuss about Lily?" Hudson shook his head and stood, feeling strangely disappointed that their meeting was ending. "Thank you for your time, Miss Anderson." "Eliza, please," she corrected him. "And Mr. Evans, your daughter speaks very highly of you. Whatever struggles you're facing, you're clearly doing something right." The unexpected compliment caught Hudson off guard. "Thank you," he said quietly before leaving. As he walked to his truck, Hudson couldn't shake the feeling that something about Eliza Anderson was different. More importantly, he couldn't ignore the opportunity she'd presented for Lily. His daughter deserved every chance at a better future than the one he could provide on his own. That night, after Lily was asleep, Hudson researched the Phoenix Foundation. It seemed legitimate, a non-profit organization dedicated to supporting underprivileged children with educational opportunities. The founder was listed as E. Anderson, which made Hudson pause. Could it be the same Eliza he'd met today? The website showed only a silhouette for the CEO's photo, with a brief mention of the founder preferring to work behind the scenes. Weird coincidence, he muttered to himself, deciding it must be someone else with the same last name. The next morning, Hudson helped Lily with her backpack as they prepared to leave for school. "Dad, I forgot to tell you. Mrs. Peterson is back today," Lily said, her blonde ponytail bouncing as she slipped on her shoes. "But I kind of liked Miss Anderson. She didn't treat me like a baby." "She mentioned you're doing great in science," Hudson said, handing Lily her lunch box. "She gave me information about a special program you might like." Lily's eyes lit up. "Really? Like with experiments and stuff? Maybe. We'll talk about it after I look into it more, okay?" Lily nodded enthusiastically as they headed to the car. Hudson couldn't help but smile at her excitement. Maybe this scholarship was worth pursuing after all. After dropping Lily off, Hudson drove to his first job of the day, fixing a leaky roof for an elderly woman named Mrs. Chen. As he worked in the hot sun, his mind kept drifting back to Eliza Anderson. There had been something compelling about her, an intelligence behind her eyes that suggested she saw more than she let on. By the time he finished the job, it was nearly 3 o'clock. Mrs. Chen paid him in cash and insisted on sending him home with homemade dumplings. "Too skinny," she said, patting his arm. "Hard-working man needs good food." Hudson thanked her and headed to pick up Lily from school. As he pulled into the parking lot, he spotted a sleek black Audi parked near the entrance, a stark contrast to the minivans and modest sedans typical of the school's demographic. Standing beside it was Eliza Anderson, dressed in a simple blouse and pencil skirt, typing something on her phone. Hudson hesitated, then decided to approach her. "Miss Anderson, I mean Eliza," she looked up, surprise crossing her features before a smile took its place. "Mr. Evans, good to see you again." "Hudson, please," he said. "I was just wondering if you're a regular substitute here." "Not exactly," she replied, slipping her phone into her purse. "I fill in occasionally at various schools in the district. It helps me stay connected to what's happening in education." "So you're an educator by profession," a slight hesitation, "among other things." Before Hudson could ask for clarification, the school doors burst open and children began streaming out. Lily spotted him immediately and ran over. "Dad, Miss Anderson," she exclaimed. "Are you talking about the science program?" Eliza smiled warmly at Lily. "Your father is just doing his homework about it, which is very responsible." "Did you know Miss Anderson came to our class today too?" Lily said to Hudson. "She talked about how businesses and schools can work together." Hudson raised an eyebrow at Eliza. "Busy woman." "I wear many hats," she said with a slight shrug. "Lily, your dad mentioned you're interested in renewable energy. What sparked that interest?" As Lily launched into an enthusiastic explanation about a documentary she'd watched, Hudson observed the interaction. Eliza listened attentively, asking thoughtful questions that showed genuine interest. She didn't talk down to Lily or dismiss her ideas as cute but inconsequential, as adults often did with children. "You know," Eliza said when Lily finished, "the Phoenix Foundation is hosting a science fair next Saturday. It's open to the public and there will be all sorts of demonstrations about renewable energy. You might find it interesting. Can we go, Dad, please?" Lily turned to Hudson, her eyes wide with excitement. Hudson hesitated. Saturdays were typically when he picked up extra work to make ends meet. "I'd have to see if I can rearrange some jobs." "I understand," Eliza said. "It's from 10 to 4, so even a brief visit would be worthwhile." She pulled out a business card and handed it to Hudson. "My direct number, in case you have any questions about the scholarship or the fair." Hudson took the card, noticing it simply read Eliza Anderson with a phone number. "No title, no company name. Thanks," he said. "We'll try to make it." Wonderful, I should be going now. Lily, keep up the excellent work. Hudson, it was nice seeing you again. As they watched her walk away, Lily tugged on Hudson's hand. She's nice, Dad, and pretty. Yes, she is, Hudson agreed absently, his eyes still on Eliza as she gracefully slid into the Audi and drove away. Throughout the week, Hudson found himself thinking about Eliza more than he cared to admit. He hadn't felt this kind of interest in a woman since before his wife got sick. The guilt was immediate, as if considering another woman somehow dishonored Jennifer's memory. Saturday morning came, and Hudson made a decision. He called Mr. Ramirez and asked if he could reschedule fixing his fence until Sunday, for your daughter's science thing. Of course, amigo, Mr. Ramirez assured him. Family first, always. Lily was ecstatic when Hudson told her they were going to the science fair. She wore her favorite t-shirt with planets printed on it and practically bounced with excitement during the entire drive. The Phoenix Foundation headquarters was an impressive glass building downtown that Hudson had driven past many times without giving much thought to. Today, however, the entrance was decorated with balloons and a banner announcing the Future Innovators Science Fair. Inside, the lobby had been transformed into a showcase of exhibits. Children of various ages stood proudly beside displays explaining everything from solar power to biodegradable plastics. Adults in matching blue shirts wandered around, engaging with visitors and answering questions. Dad, look. Lily pointed to a demonstration where a small windmill was powering a set of LED lights. Can we see that one first? Lead the way, kiddo, Hudson said, smiling at his daughter's enthusiasm. They spent an hour exploring different exhibits, with Lily asking detailed questions that sometimes left the presenters searching for answers. Hudson felt a surge of pride watching her fearlessly engage with concepts that went well beyond her grade level. Hudson, Lily, you made it. Eliza's voice came from behind them. When they turned, Hudson was momentarily taken aback. Instead of the professional attire he'd seen her in before, Eliza was dressed casually in jeans and a Phoenix Foundation polo shirt, her hair loose around her shoulders. She looked younger, more approachable. This place is amazing, Lily exclaimed. I just learned how bacteria can eat plastic, Eliza laughed. That's one of my favorite exhibits. Have you visited the engineering section yet? They have a robot you can program. Lily's eyes widened. A real robot, Eliza confirmed. Why don't I show you? As they followed Eliza through the crowd, Hudson noticed how people reacted to her staff members straightening their posture, parents nodding respectfully, children greeting her by name. It was subtle but unmistakable. Whoever Eliza Anderson was, she commanded a certain authority here. The engineering section was buzzing with activity. Eliza guided them to a table where several children were taking turns programming a small robot to navigate a maze. Patrick, Eliza called to a young man overseeing the activity. This is Lily Evans. She's particularly interested in renewable energy but might enjoy trying her hand at robotics too. Absolutely, Patrick grinned. We've got a spot opening up in about 5 minutes. Want to stick around, Lily? Lily nodded enthusiastically. I'll leave you in Patrick's capable hands then, Eliza said. Hudson, would you like to get some coffee while Lily explores? The cafeteria has a decent brew and it's quieter there. Hudson hesitated, glancing at Lily, who was already engrossed in watching the robot's movements. She'll be perfectly safe, Eliza assured him. All our staff are background checked and Patrick is one of our best. Okay, Hudson agreed. Lily, I'm going to grab some coffee with Miss Anderson. Stay with Patrick, all right. Lily replied distractedly, her focus entirely on the robot. The cafeteria was indeed quieter, with just a few families scattered among the tables. Eliza led Hudson to a coffee station where they helped themselves. Thank you for bringing Lily today, Eliza said as they sat down. I can see how much this means to her. I should be thanking you for telling us about it, Hudson replied. I don't think I've seen her this excited in a long time. He took a sip of coffee, then asked the question that had been bothering him all week. So, who exactly are you, Eliza? You substitute teach, you're involved with this foundation, you drive an Audi. You're not exactly what you seem. Eliza's expression became guarded. What do you think I seem like? Honestly, like someone slumming it to feel good about helping the less fortunate, Hudson said bluntly, immediately regretting his harsh tone. I'm sorry, that was unfair. To his surprise, Eliza didn't seem offended. No, it's a fair question. The truth is simpler and more complicated than that. She took a deep breath. I'm the founder and CEO of the Phoenix Foundation. Hudson stared at her. You're E. Anderson, the one on the website, the very same, she confirmed. I started the foundation 5 years ago after selling my tech company to Microsoft. Before that, I was a teacher for 7 years. But why the secrecy? Why substitute teach at random schools? Because money can build programs, but it can't tell you what children actually need, Eliza explained. I visit schools regularly, substitute teaching or giving presentations, to see firsthand what's working and what isn't. It helps me make better decisions about our initiatives. Hudson processed this information, feeling slightly embarrassed about his assumption. And my daughter. Was she just a random student you happened to notice? Eliza's expression softened. Nothing about my interest in Lily is random, Hudson. When I review classes before substituting, I look for students who show promise but might need additional support. Lily's file stood out: high test scores, creative thinking, but increasingly incomplete assignments. Classic signs of a bright child who's either bored or dealing with challenges outside school. And then you met me, Hudson said, understanding dawning. The struggling single dad. I met a dedicated father doing his absolute best under difficult circumstances, Eliza corrected him. The kind of parent we specifically want to support through our programs. The scholarship isn't charity, Hudson. It's an investment in children like Lily who deserve opportunities regardless of their financial situation. Hudson was silent for a moment, absorbing her words. Why didn't you just tell me who you were from the beginning? Experience, Eliza sighed. When people know I'm the CEO, they either treat me differently or assume I can't possibly understand real-world problems because I have money. I find I learn more truth when I'm just Eliza, the substitute teacher. Hudson couldn't argue with that logic. So what now? Was this whole thing meeting at school, suggesting the fair part of your recruitment process? Partially, Eliza admitted, but not entirely. She hesitated before continuing. I don't usually spend Saturday mornings giving personal tours to potential scholarship recipients, Hudson. That's what my staff is for. The implication hung in the air between them. Hudson felt a flutter of something he hadn't experienced in years: anticipation, possibility. I'd like to get to know you better, Eliza said finally. Not as the CEO evaluating a scholarship candidate's parent, but as a woman who finds herself thinking about a certain handyman far more than is professionally appropriate. Hudson couldn't help but smile. Even after I accused you of slumming it, especially after that, Eliza laughed. Do you know how rare it is for people to be honest with me these days? Their conversation flowed easily after that, moving from their backgrounds to their interests. Hudson learned that despite her wealth, Eliza lived relatively modestly, funneling most of her fortune into the foundation. She'd grown up middle class in a small town, worked her way through college, and stumbled into tech entrepreneurship almost by accident. In turn, Hudson told her about his previous career as a contractor before the recession hit, forcing him to downsize to handyman work. He spoke about Jennifer's illness, how it had drained their savings and changed his priorities completely. Lily became my whole world, he explained. Every decision I've made since Jennifer died has been about keeping her safe and giving her the best life I could manage. She's lucky to have you, Eliza said softly. Before they knew it, nearly an hour had passed. Hudson checked his watch, concerned. We should probably check on Lily. They found her not at the robotics table but across the room, deep in conversation with a woman in a lab coat about solar panels. Dad, Lily exclaimed when she spotted them. Dr. Kim says I asked really good questions. She thinks I could be an environmental engineer someday. That's amazing, sweetheart, Hudson said, touched by her excitement. Did you also tell your dad about programming the robot to complete the entire maze? Eliza asked with a knowing smile. I was getting to that part, Lily grinned. Patrick said I have a natural talent for spatial reasoning, whatever that means. As they prepared to leave an hour later, Lily clutching a bag of science-themed souvenirs provided by the foundation, Eliza walked them to their car. "I had a wonderful time today," she told Hudson as Lily climbed into the passenger seat. "So did I," Hudson replied. "This was unexpected." "Good unexpected, I hope. Definitely good," he assured her. Eliza hesitated, then asked, "Would you be interested in dinner sometime? Just the two of us?" Hudson thought about all the reasons he should say no, the disparity in their situations, his responsibilities to Lily, the complications of dating someone involved in his daughter's education. But looking at Eliza's hopeful expression, he found none of those reasons compelling enough. "I'd like that," he said, "but I should warn you, my babysitter budget is limited. I happen to know the Phoenix Foundation has an excellent evening program for scholarship candidates," Eliza replied with a mischievous smile, "complete with dinner and supervised activities." "Lily might enjoy attending next Friday," Hudson laughed. "Using foundation resources for your dating life, isn't that an abuse of power, CEO Anderson? The program exists independently of my personal interests," Eliza said with mock seriousness. "It's merely a convenient coincidence." "In that case, Friday sounds perfect." Over the next few weeks, Hudson and Eliza's relationship developed at a careful pace. Their first date was at a small Italian restaurant where Eliza insisted on splitting the bill despite Hudson's protests. "This isn't about your financial situation," she explained. "It's about starting on equal footing. I want you to see me as Eliza, not as the wealthy CEO who's doing you a favor." Hudson appreciated her sensitivity to his pride. "Fair enough, but I'm paying for dessert." Meanwhile, Lily was thriving in the Phoenix Foundation's after-school program. The scholarship had been officially approved, providing her with access to advanced science and math instruction 3 days a week. Hudson noticed immediate changes in her confidence and focus. "Dad, I built a circuit today that powered a tiny fan," Lily reported one evening. "And next week, we're going to learn about different types of renewable energy storage systems." "That sounds complicated," Hudson said, smiling at her enthusiasm. "It is, but miss." "Eliza says complicated just means there's more to discover," Lily replied, parroting Eliza's words with obvious admiration. As autumn progressed, Hudson found himself growing increasingly comfortable with Eliza. She never made him feel inadequate, despite the vast differences in their financial situations. Instead, she valued his practical knowledge and problem-solving abilities, skills developed through years of hands-on work. For Halloween, they took Lily trick-or-treating together, with Eliza dressed as Marie Curie to complement Lily's scientist costume. When they returned home, Lily sorted her candy while the adults talked quietly on the porch. "Thank you for including me tonight," Eliza said, her voice soft in the October darkness. "Halloween was always just my mom and me growing up. It feels nice to be part of to share it with the two of you." Hudson understood what she'd almost said, part of a family. The thought didn't terrify him as it might have months ago. "We're glad you're here," he said simply, taking her hand. That night, under a canopy of stars, Hudson kissed Eliza for the first time. It was gentle and questioning, both of them aware of the complexities of their situation. When they broke apart, Eliza's eyes reflected a mixture of happiness and uncertainty. "I'm falling for you, Hudson," she confessed, "but I need you to know that whatever happens between us has no bearing on Lily's scholarship or her place in the program. Those are secured regardless." Hudson appreciated her reassurance. "I never thought otherwise," he said honestly. "And I'm falling for you too, not the CEO, not the scholarship provider. Just Eliza, the woman who listens to my daughter like she's the most important person in the room." As Thanksgiving approached, Hudson faced a dilemma. Traditionally, he and Lily spent the holiday with his parents in Oregon, but this year, his mother had broken her hip and couldn't host. The thought of cooking a proper Thanksgiving meal in their small apartment seemed daunting. When Eliza suggested they join her at her home, Hudson initially hesitated. They'd been dating for almost 3 months, but he hadn't yet visited her house. There was something intimidating about seeing firsthand the disparity in their living situations. "It won't be anything fancy," Eliza promised. "Just us. I'm a decent cook, but I'd welcome your help, and Lily could try out the piano she's been asking about. Hudson finally agreed, and on Thanksgiving morning, he and Lily drove to the address Eliza had provided. He'd expected something ostentatious given her wealth, but the house was a modest craftsman in a nice but not extravagant neighborhood. "This is where Miss Eliza lives?" Lily asked, clearly having anticipated something grander as well. "Apparently so," Hudson replied, relieved and intrigued. Eliza greeted them warmly at the door, dressed in jeans and a comfortable sweater, an apron tied around her waist. "Welcome. The turkey's already in the oven, but we have plenty of side dishes to prepare." The inside of the house was cozy and lived in, with bookshelves lining the walls and comfortable furniture arranged to encourage conversation. There were signs of Eliza's success: original artwork, a high-end sound system, but nothing overly showy. As they worked together in the kitchen, Eliza explained, "I grew up in a house half this size with twice as many people. My mom, grandparents, and 2 uncles all under one roof. When I made money, everyone expected me to buy a mansion, but this feels more like home." "It's perfect," Hudson said sincerely, understanding her better now. Despite her success, Eliza hadn't forgotten her roots. After dinner, while Lily explored the piano in the living room, Hudson helped Eliza clear the table. "I have something to tell you," he said quietly. "I got a job offer yesterday. Carter Construction wants me to oversee their residential projects. It's full-time with benefits, and the salary is nearly double what I make now." Eliza's face lit up. "Hudson, that's wonderful. Are you going to take it?" "I already did," he admitted. "It means I can provide better for Lily, maybe even start saving for her college fund again." "I'm so proud of you," Eliza said, hugging him tightly. "Not because you'll be making more money, but because someone recognized your talent and experience." As they embraced, Hudson felt a sense of rightness that had been missing from his life for years. With Lily's happy piano attempts providing a soundtrack, he realized the 3 of them had formed something special, not a replacement for what he'd lost, but something new and equally precious. By Christmas, Hudson and Lily had settled into their improved circumstances. The new job allowed Hudson more regular hours and weekends off. He'd even managed to buy Lily a new winter coat and boots without worrying about the electric bill. On Christmas Eve, after Lily had gone to bed, Hudson and Eliza sat by his small tree, the lights casting a warm glow over the living room. "I have something for you," Hudson said, handing Eliza a small, wrapped package. Inside was a handcrafted wooden music box. When opened, it played Clair de Lune, the piece Eliza had been teaching Lily on the piano. "Hudson, it's beautiful," Eliza whispered, running her fingers over the intricate inlay. "Did you make this?" He nodded. "Took me weeks of evenings after Lily went to bed." "I wanted you to have something that couldn't be bought." Eliza's eyes glistened with tears. "It's the most thoughtful gift anyone has ever given me." She reached into her bag and pulled out a small box of her own. "My gift seems inadequate in comparison." Hudson opened it to find a key. "Is this?" "A key to my house," Eliza confirmed. "I'm not asking you to move in. I know that's a conversation that includes Lily and requires more time, but I want you to know you're always welcome, anytime." Hudson closed his hand around the key, understanding the significance. "Thank you for trusting me with this." "Hudson," Eliza began, her voice serious, "these past months have shown me what I was missing in my life. Success means nothing without people to share it with. You and Lily. You've given me a sense of family I never expected to find." "I felt guilty at first," Hudson confessed. "Like loving you somehow betrayed Jennifer's memory, but I've realized she would want this for Lily and me to find happiness again." "I'll never try to replace her," Eliza assured him. "In Lily's life or yours." "I know," Hudson said. "That's part of why I love you." The words hung in the air between them, spoken aloud for the first time. Eliza's expression softened with emotion. "I love you too," she replied. "Both of you." Spring arrived with new beginnings. Hudson's position at Carter Construction had evolved into a management role that utilized both his hands-on experience and untapped leadership abilities. Lily continued to excel in the Phoenix Foundation's programs, recently winning a regional science fair with her project on efficient solar energy collection. On a warm April evening, Hudson, Eliza, and Lily walked through the park, celebrating the one-year anniversary of that first parent-teacher conference. Did you know you were going to ask me about the scholarship when you came to substitute that day? Hudson asked Eliza as Lily ran ahead to the playground. I knew Lily was a candidate, Eliza admitted, but I didn't expect to meet a father who would impress me as much as his daughter did. You weren't in the plan, Hudson Evans. The best things rarely are, he replied, squeezing her hand. As they watched Lily on the swings, Eliza leaned against Hudson's shoulder. I've been thinking about the Foundation's next initiative weekend family science programs where parents and children can learn together. Sounds like a great idea, Hudson said. Kids need to see their parents engaged in learning too. Exactly, Eliza agreed. Would you consider helping me develop it? Your perspective as both a parent and someone who's worked with his hands would be invaluable. Hudson looked at her in surprise. You want my input on a foundation program? I want your partnership, Eliza clarified. In this end, well, in everything. The weight of her words wasn't lost on Hudson. Are you proposing a business arrangement, Miss Anderson? He teased gently. I'm proposing we stop pretending we don't know where this is heading, Eliza said, suddenly serious. I love you, Hudson. I love Lily. I want to build a life with both of you if that's something you want too. Hudson thought about how far they'd come from a chance meeting in a classroom to this moment of possibility. He thought about Lily's transformation from a distracted, lonely child to a confident, thriving student. And he thought about his own journey from a struggling widower to a man who had found not just financial stability but emotional fulfillment. It's definitely what I want, he said, pulling Eliza close. But let's take it one step at a time. Maybe start with moving those boxes of yours into our new place. Our new place, Eliza repeated, confused. Hudson grinned. I was going to tell you tonight anyway. I put a down payment on a house, nothing fancy, but it has 3 bedrooms and a yard, big enough for all of us if you're interested. Eliza's eyes widened. You bought a house. With my own money, Hudson emphasized, knowing how important that distinction was to both of them. The construction company gave me a bonus for bringing in that hospital renovation project under budget. Tears filled Eliza's eyes. I'm so proud of you. Dad, Eliza, watch me. Lily called from the top of the slide. As they turned to wave, Hudson felt a profound sense of gratitude. 1 year ago, he'd been a struggling father barely keeping his head above water. Today, he stood beside the woman he loved, watching his daughter thrive, no longer defined by what they lacked but by what they'd built together. You know, Hudson said quietly, when I walked into that classroom last year, I thought I was just attending another parent-teacher conference. And I thought I was just studying another scholarship candidate, Eliza replied. Life has a funny way of giving us exactly what we need, even when we don't know we're looking for it. As Lily ran back to join them, Hudson put his arm around Eliza's shoulders, forming a circle when Lily grabbed both their hands. In that moment, he knew with absolute certainty that they had found their way home.